It's official. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by me, your host, your girl, robinicolek, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now stay tuned for today's episode of the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast. Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on I'm Wired to Inspire podcast. I'm robinicolek, the inspiration specialist, and I am wired to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. It has been a while, but guys, this is the last week of 2021, and I typically do like a year in review or, just some things that I feel led to share for 2022. But for some reason, I didn't necessarily come up with a list of things, but I just had a few thoughts that I felt I should probably share. And if it means something to you, great. If it doesn't, still good. But I don't know. I think I just kind of have a lot more compassion for things that I might have overlooked in the past and things that maybe I didn't consider. For me, 2021 was the year of the blind spot. I prayed for that a lot. And one thing I will tell anybody is if you really, really, really want to get to like your highest goals, your highest self, literally live in the highest form of service and do the things that God has called you to do, praying that prayer is essential. Asking God, what are your blind spots? Now, let me tell you why this is the most powerful prayer I have ever prayed in my life. Because when you are openly and actively seeking God to find out the things about yourself that He is not pleased with, that spill over into other things that you may do in error, right? When you pray for those things and for Him to show you those things, I can tell you right now, it is not going to feel good. We don't know everything about ourselves. I mean, truly, regardless, we don't know everything about ourselves because we can't tell you how we came here, and we can't even tell you how when we're leaving. So obviously, God is in control of all of that, right? The thing, though, that really stuck out to me about that process was, I know in my mind, y'all, it was more about I just genuinely wanted to be a better person. And I started to just think about all these things that I've been struggling with, all these things I've been working on. And in that process, in my mind, y'all, it was, I'm going to find out these things about myself. But Lord have mercy, you find out so much about other people. You find out so much about how, I can tell you in my case, I wasn't purely living the way I needed to live for Robin. Now I'm about to divert a little bit. My entire thing is live your authentic purpose. I have classes, courses. People literally pay me to help them do that. That is what I'm a professional at by trade, an inspirationalist, right? And I didn't even realize before I prayed that prayer, I wasn't even doing that for myself. Okay. What also happens is sometimes things will come to you that you see you've allowed to come into play that you really shouldn't have it shouldn't have even been in your sphere. But you allow certain things into your sphere because you are not seeing yourself the way you're supposed to. I had a situation where a good friend of mine, they sat on it for a while, but she came to me and she was like, girl, like I've been wanting to tell you this for the longest time. But she's like, girl, you just don't even understand. Like, you don't really get the power and the positioning that God has given you in certain areas of your life. And I wasn't offended by that at all, but I was a little perplexed because I didn't necessarily know what she meant by that. And I can tell that there are some of you right now who are listening to me, and that is what's going on with you. There are people, there are opportunities, there are situations around you that can see that can gravitate toward that in you. And what happens is, if you don't do what you got to do and tap in and begin to live fully, authentically for yourself from a place of peace, from a place of healing, other people can manipulate that to get what they want from you. And let me tell you something. Manipulation is not good, but it's not always a bad thing when a person can see something great in you that can possibly help the greater good. But that literally means nothing, and it will end up going haywire if you do not do that for yourself first. That is important going into 2022. You have to understand the importance of what you bring to the table and what you offer. That is extremely important. And all of these conversations literally grew from the blind spot prayer, and what I am actually going to do, I have a journal that is dropping. You can actually, I'll you know what? I'm not sure if it'll be ready by the time I post this post this episode. I'm sorry, y'all. But I'll go ahead and put something in there so that you all can get it. But yes, I think it's just very important for you to really, really think about the level in which you want to go to in your life. Now, let me give you some of the benefits of this. That's kind of the downside, is that you kind of realize things about yourself that are like, whoa, I didn't know I was like that. But then I'll tell you something too. Here's another thing that I realized. If you're not careful, the enemy will make things amplified and make you think you're like a horrible, bad person. Yeah. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Because I forgot to say that. This is so important to say as a disclaimer. It's one thing to ask God about your blind spots, but it's another thing to let people brutally mishandle you in the process of you going through that, because you're already an open wound. You are already trying to hear the hard things about yourself. And you have to be careful that you don't allow people to pounce on you in that space. And again, you want to evolve to such a space where the conversation does not come to what that person did to you or how they messed up. You just want to stay out of that, period. You don't even want to get into that. There's a time and a place for that. But with this prayer, the focal point is finding out your blind spots, not to turn it into a lifestyle of constantly trying to heal, constantly trying to avoid trauma. No, that has its place, but you want to find a balance. You want to understand your blind spots. You want to seek therapy if that's what God is telling you to do. You want to get your mind right. You want to relax and pray. And, the Bible talks about meditating and focusing on the things of God and the things that can expand your life and make your life greater, right? You want to be able to do that, but you do not want to put yourself in a perpetual state of, I'm a horrible person. I did this wrong. I did this bad. Or you may do something habitually and don't even realize you're doing it, and someone villainizes you. That's the devil. I'm not telling you to act like you're not doing that, but don't start to internalize that stuff and go through sadness and depression when really it could just be an easy fix. Or you may learn that it might be a character flaw or a character trait. And maybe that person, y'all just not what you thought. Maybe y'all can't really be cool anymore. Or it's just something that person can't accept, but other people can accept it just fine. So I'm saying all that to say, 2021 taught me about asking about those blind spots. But what I think is important is that you do not stay there. Once God begins to help you realize these things, yeah, it's going to hurt. It's not going to feel good. Okay. I'm telling you that now. That's a disclaimer. But if you are bold enough and trust God enough to really want to step into who you really, really are, I'm going to tell you right now, if some of the blind spots and things involve other people, or in some cases, y'all, some of your careers, some of the endeavors and some of the things that you've been trying to do, maybe some businesses you started, some friendships, some toxic relationships, you're going to find that not only will God show you things about yourself like, hey, girl, hey, boy, you need to stop doing that. But you're going to also find that some of the things and situations that you've brought into your life were inspired by those blind spots. And those weren't things you were supposed to be doing to begin with. You'll also discover that a blind spot, oftentimes you can show you're hurting other people, in turn you're hurting yourself. And of course, most importantly, you can be doing things contrary to the things that God wants you to do. Again, I want to be very clear. This is a process. you go to God on these things that I'm saying, but I just think it is important that you seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. That's Matthew 6:33. So what that's saying is, I was just seeking the Lord first. I turn that into, okay, Lord, I want to seek you first to show me the things that I'm not doing well. Like, what can I do to make some better changes in my life? Like, what can I do to show myself approved when it comes to who I am and what you want me to do in my life? When that became the focal point, a lot of things happened. I lost a lot of people. I lost a lot of actual things. A lot of opportunities left me. But oh my God, let me tell y'all something. That's when the bag comes. That's when the bag comes and it doesn't slip through your fingers. Because don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, it's a practical and spiritual balance. It's not just one without the other. It's not just, you don't operate on faith. It's just getting things done. No, you ain't going to keep it like that. You're going to constantly struggle. And this is something I've had to learn over time. You have to know how to balance things spiritually and make sure you're handling your business practically. It's a team effort here. Because people often say, well, how come that person not spiritual? They don't believe in God, whatever. Okay, that's true. But guess what? They're just following practical steps. Anybody can work and do practical steps. But if you want the things of God will last. And the Bible talks about that a good man is supposed to have an inheritance for his children's children. So a good man is not working for his children. He's working for his children's children. But again, a lot of times, when we're driven to do things and we're trying to do it from our flesh, we can get things done and we can get things done in excellence. But that does not mean that is excellence in God's eyes. It can be excellence in man's eyes. But if God sees that he was taken out of the equation or was never in it, he will poke holes in it. And this will happen to the most spiritual person, Jesus-y person, to a person who not spiritual at all. It doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter where you fit on the spectrum. If God is not in it and you want it to last, it's not going to. So either he will jack up and bust up that foundation and create a new one, or he'll just toss it. Y'all, let me tell you what I learned. God don't care how much I work on nothing. Okay? He don't care about that. God don't care nothing about that. That's why we get it twisted. But the enemy, just makes us think sometimes we do this, and this, and it's for this and that. And God be like, yeah, nah. Like, I'll throw all that away. I will. Remember when he told Lot's wife, girl, I will turn you to a pillar of salt if you go back over there. She was like, I bet. Disobeyed him, and sis was a pillar of salt immediately. And it's the same thing with these things that we hold on to and that we idolize. He literally gave her an option. Do it my way. If you do it my way, you can move on with your life and go this way and we'll figure it out. But if you go that way, I can't help you because you're going into something that I'm not okaying. She decided to go back to what she thought was going to get her what she needed and what she wanted. And guess what? It took her life. It's no different than today. I mean, we're not walking around here turning into pillars of salt in real life, but sometimes theoretically, and sometimes, in theory, and I said theoretically. No, I meant to say theoretically, but I also meant to say oh, y'all, I'm having a brain fart. My bad. Anyway, I think y'all get my point. It's not necessarily in real life, but in theory it is. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's really, really important that going into 2022, if you have not braced yourself, I'm not going to sell you no wooden nickels. But if you really, really, really want to reset yourself, and let's say you're super successful, you got money, you got stuff popping, but something is missing. You feel empty. You feel like you got to do certain things to maintain what you have, and you know it's not really what God wants. You thought God blessed you with it, but now you're like, yeah, nah, that's not it. I want you to just consider asking God about your blind spots, because your blind spots will literally help you to see the pride, the arrogance, the pain, the hurt. And y'all, something else I have to say too. Sometimes you have good blind spots. Sometimes a blind spot sometimes you can see that you are doing something really well in an area and you just can't even see it. You're not utilizing it, and I just feel prophetically even, this is just coming to me as I'm saying this part. Some of you are going to find out, You have been operating in a blind spot that's a stream of income for you that you have not even recognized is a stream of income for you. Usually when you pray about blind spots, it usually has a negative connotation because, again, you can't see it and it's something that you could be you can appear to be effectively doing. And you don't even realize that's what you're doing. And I'm going to tell y'all, one of the toughest parts about that space is you genuinely could have no idea that you're projecting something or putting something out. And usually other people will think you're lying or you're fully aware and you're trying to do it. And you literally suffering and dying inside because you genuinely are not thinking that way. But again, this is why this space is tough. It's not so much of the revelation, but when you come into the revelation and it could possibly be associated with other people or other people bringing things to your attention, again, take that with a grain of salt because people can only see you through their filter. Every charge and everything people throw at you, that's not necessarily yours to take. Sometimes people throw their own charges at you and they want to make you feel bad and guilty about it. So be careful for that too. But that's usually easy to spot because when you feel convicted, you know that that's God either using that person or making you feel, God is either using that person or he's allowing a situation to make you feel a conviction like, ooh, I got to change. But the minute you start feeling condemnation and you start feeling less than and you start shrinking and feeling small and you want to, you feeling like you got to protect yourself, that's not God. So that's the easiest way to find that out. If you having a round with somebody or something is being brought to your attention, just watch. If that pace start changing, I'm not talking about backing out because your ego and your pride don't want to receive it. I mean, you're wide open, you're pure, your heart is pure, you're realizing you're not doing things well or according to what they say and it agrees with your spirit. Anything beyond that, when it starts turning into something ugly and disrespectful and weird, God don't have no part in that. And that's when you gently check yourself out of that. And then you go back to God, you present it back to God, you shake the tree and whatever is left, then you will know, okay, this was, I'm going to take the meat, throw out the bone. I take this piece, I throw it out. That's not it. And let me tell you something. If you happen to throw out the wrong thing and you don't receive it, and it really is God trying to help you and show you that blind spot, he's so good, he'll send somebody else to show you. Even if he has to come in your dream and show you and explain it to you, God is going to make sure you get that because my goal for 2022, for all of y'all who listen to me, and God bless y'all for listening to me. Y'all are so awesome. My goal, though, for you guys is this. I want you to be so dope and so connected to your authentic purpose. I want to inspire you to your authentic purpose in such a way that it literally changes the course of your life for the better. Literally, it changes the shape, the direction, the foundation of your life because you get this revelation. You get your therapy, you get your healing, however God directs you so that you can work on it or whatever it is he teaches you or leads you to in that space. I want you to do that. Then I want you to handle up, do what you got to do, reset yourself and say, okay, practical and spiritual. I'm balancing myself out. I'm going to do the work, but I'm also going to have the faith. I'm going to give my prayers legs. I'm going to give my prayers legs. So that is what I feel led to share with you guys at the end of 2021. I believe that if you feel led to move on that advice, again, everything I'm saying, this is not necessarily a prophetic word other than that. Well, it's not. Other than what I gave to you guys a minute ago and said I felt and heard that prophetically, that little one part is something I felt the Holy Spirit was leading me to share. But everything else was pretty much words of wisdom and words of knowledge. Because prophetic words and words of wisdom and knowledge and experience, they're not the same thing. Prophetically is when the Holy Spirit is leading me to share. And it's in prophecy is set to do three things. And I'm going to send y'all back to your word. Go and find out what those three things are that prophecy means. I'm not going to tell y'all because I want y'all to hop in and figure that part out if you don't know. But prophecy is clear on what it is. But I felt it was important for me to give some words of knowledge and wisdom, and how I believe if we tackle those blind spots, not obsessively, but consistently. And don't make your life a life of constant, I have to figure this out and I have to heal. No, you do have to heal and you have to get the help. You got to do the work, but also enjoy your life. Also understand you have shortcomings. Every therapist, every church, every Bible, every friend, every mentor. Listen, people can only do so much. Experience can only do so much. Sometimes you just have to live your life in peace and just coast for a minute and just relax. Even in your shortcomings, you have to be okay. Because this is the most powerful thing I want to tell y'all before I check out on this. And then I got a special gift for someone who's listening, and I'm going to give you that in a second. But as I round that, I'll say this. 2021 was one of the worst years of my adult life, hands down, especially the last 6 months. Literally trash. I mean, trash. But at the same time, the last 6 months of 2021 have been the most profound and literally some of the best days of my life. I kid y'all not. It is the weirdest oxymoron. It was the best of times. There you go. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. I'm not trying to be a cliche, but that's why I can't be sad. And number one, I had my health. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all, you will understand when you get older. I tell everybody to take their vitamins. I get on my friends' nerves. I be texting everybody, hey, y'all took y'all vitamins. What y'all doing? You drinking your water, whatever. And I got to do better on my water. But I'm working on that. But anyway, your health is your wealth before we have any other conversation. So consider what you need to do health-wise as well. But with all of the craziness that happened, like, losing loved ones, having to move, losing stuff, losing things, losing friendships, losing relationships, losing places to live, losing things to drive, losing places to go. I mean, COVID-19, my goodness, it was just a hell of a time for me. But y'all, let me tell y'all something. It was so dope. I would not change it for the world. Now, when it was happening, I wouldn't have said that. But y'all, God is so good. And it's funny because, y'all, the enemy wants so badly for us to hate our lives. He wants us so badly to say, oh, somebody did me this and I'm so mad at them and they should care about me and life is so hard. Not me. No, sir. I have figured it out. That's for the birds. Because let me tell you something about God and something about love and something about just really understanding who you are as a child of God. There's some things that God just tells us about how love is, how it's patient, how it's kind. Y'all, look at the basics of the word. If there's no patience with you, if there's no kindness with you, if there's a record of things and this, y'all, that's not love. And unfortunately, you might have been thinking it was love, but it wasn't, because that person probably showing you they really don't love you. They just really love themselves and they for their agenda. Or you might realize you only love you and you doing what you're doing for your agenda. It's all good. And how about this? I got the biggest whammy. Most of what you're going to encounter ain't even going to have to do with other people. I can tell you, my 2021, 10% of it had to do with other things with other people. The other 90% had to do with me. I'm telling you, that is what's going to get you to the greater good, the best parts of your life. That is what's going to get there. We not blaming people. We not mad. We grateful. We serving. We loving. We sharing. We building. We honoring. We respecting God. We loving God. We doing what we need to do. That's how we moving, y'all. Shortcomings, flaws and all. We doing all of that. We are genuinely focusing on living our authentic purpose. So that is what I want to tell you before the year is out. Now, here's what I have for someone listening. So if you are listening, I never really talk about what I do full time professionally, but I am an inspirationalist by profession. I think I said that earlier. And basically, that is a person who is, paid to inspire and encourage, but that is coupled with wisdom, experience, and I guess you could say quantitative information to actually see that come to pass in a person's life. And people pay me for that in multiple forms. So what I would like to do for someone, I have a session that I have until, I think I'm going to keep it until the first week in January, maybe until January 5th. I'm not sure. But if you listen to this and you want a session, I am going to give a free session away to someone. It is 1 full hour. And I'm offering a breakthrough session. I have other things that I offer. I have 3 offerings up on my my site right now. And on the 1st of January, I will have new offerings because I have to take them off and, swap them out depending on the seasons and what's needed. But I will be adding 2 more offerings on January 1st of 2022. But the breakthrough offering, that is dope. And I literally help you to figure out what you need to do. And if you possibly have any roadblocks that could be keeping you from living your authentic purpose and possibly maybe the thing that's stopping your discipline or your consistency. And yeah, I'll do that. What you have to do is, though, all you have to do is go to my email, and you can either email info@imwiredtoinspire.com, or you can go to the inspirationspecialist@gmail.com, and you just email me and you say, hey, Robin, I listened to the podcast. I would like to get the 1 hour session from you for a breakthrough. And whoever is the first person to send me an email, is very simple. Whoever is the first person to send me an email, I will contact you directly and I will set up the call and we will have it and we're going to go from there. So also, I have brand new journals. I think I have about 16 now, about 16 journals, and there will be 20 up by the time January 1st comes. So within the next 4 days, there are going to be 4 more new journals posted. If there's a journal that you have in mind, this collection will soon be over. This 4 will be the last of this collection, meaning fitting this aesthetic. And, just kind of matted and looking a particular way. The next collection of journals will be coiled and it will be more planner based and things like that. But I have songwriting books ahead. I have inspirational books ahead. So I just wanted to do a little housekeeping and offer that to you guys. If you have any questions, please hit me up, y'all. I have a poppin' YouTube channel, The Inspiration Specialist. I thank you guys for 7,000 followers. I really appreciate it. And we keep building. I'll be adding some content on there as well. But hit me up if you enjoyed this, you want a part 2, or if you want me to give you some tips for 2022, I can do that as well. But I love y'all. And I hope that you have the courage, the confidence, and the strength to pray that prayer about your blind spots. Because it's not just bad, it's also good with it. But it will change the trajectory of your life. Because that means you have come to a place in your life where enough is enough. And you literally want to live as authentically as possible. I am praying that for those of you this sticks to, I hope that you can do it, because I can guarantee you your bag is going to go up. Your relationships are going to go up. Your mindset is going to go up. Your foundational aspects of your life and your relationships are going to go up and grow up and change for the better. So, yeah, that is my prayer for you. So, yeah, I'm wired to inspire, and I hope you are too. Thanks for listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at imwiredtoinspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word for your girl. Hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and more of my inspirational products and services, log on to imwiredtoinspire.com and remember to live your authentic purpose. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see you next time.